I'm João, and on behalf of Porto and the North of Portugal Tourism Board, I wish you a very warm welcome to this amazing venue. Today we are going to discuss how Porto and the North of Portugal is a region where progress meets sustainability. We are at the Porto Cruise Terminal, definitely a symbolic location for our discussion today about plastic, the oceans, and the impact of responsible tourism for a sustainable future of tourist destinations. Today with us we have Pedro São Simao. Hello Pedro, thank you for being here with us.
Hi João.
Pedro, let me quickly introduce you before starting our conversation. Pedro has practically dedicated his life to make sure that plastic never becomes waste. He is the coordinator of Pact Portuguese para os Plásticos, Portuguese Plastic Pact, a collaborative initiative led by Smart Waste Portugal, and that belongs to the Global Plastics Pact network of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which brings together the main national players in the plastics value chain with the common goal of creating a circular economy of plastics. Pedro, you are also general manager and the third generation of your family business, Ernesto São Simão LDA, dedicated to molds manufacturing and plastic production, that has been pursuing the implementation of sustainable business model of production based on the increased use of recycled plastics. Tell us a little bit about your background and how it led to the creation of the Portuguese Plastic Pact.
Hi João, and thanks for having me. So it started pretty young. When I was in the university, me and a group of friends started a small NGO. And the first action that we did was to promote the consumption of tap water instead of bottled water. We were not thinking about plastics at the time, but just in consumption of materials that were not needed. And that led us for the first cleanup of a river nearby here in Matosinhos. And that triggered me the motivation to do something about the environment and about this specific topic. As you said, I work right now and for the past 8 years in a family business dedicated to plastic production. So I understood that I need to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. So I dedicated these 8 years trying to change the business model towards a more sustainable one. This path was already being taken by my father that increased the use of recycled materials. And I was looking forward to give a step forward, design better products, focus on eco-design, try reuse models. So all these initiatives and projects within the company led to the invitation by Smart Waste Portugal to be part of the board of this business association that gathers more than 120 businesses with the aim to make the transition to a circular economy here in Portugal, convert waste into resources. And within the Smart Waste Portugal, with the agenda of trying to eliminate plastic waste and try to make plastic circular, we started to work in a working group focused on plastics in the circular economy, which led to the creation of the Portuguese Plastics Pact that I will explain during this interview.
Very well. The project counts with the participation of several members and is part of the Global Plastics Pact initiative that the Ellen MacArthur Foundation has brought to life, with 5 ambition goals to be reached by 2025. The initiative has the institutional support of the Portuguese government, which shows Portugal's commitment towards the transition to a circular economy. This leads me actually to a few questions. What are these goals, and to what extent have they been achieved?
When the Plastics Pact was established, the first thing that we wanted was more than just a national commitment, was a commitment that would be part of a global movement. That's the reason why we belong to this initiative of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Plastic is not a national problem, has no borders, and specifically when it reaches the ocean, there is no border, so everybody is impacted by plastic waste and plastic pollution. So the ambition of the initiative is the same as the Ellen MacArthur applied to the Portuguese territory. So creating a circular economy for plastics, where plastics never become waste or pollution. And to achieve that, we set a group of 5 ambitious targets to be achieved by 2025, so it's nearby. The first one is to eliminate everything that is either problematic or not needed. Every single-use plastic or packaging that is problematic in terms of recycling or it's unnecessary, our members commit to eliminate them all from their portfolios by 2025. Then the plastic that is needed, specifically packaging that is needed every day, all the members commit to make it 100% reusable, recyclable or compostable by 2025. And to guarantee that all this recyclable material is indeed and in fact recycled, we also set a target to achieve 70% of recycling rate of plastic packaging by 2025. And just to give you an idea, by the last available data from 2018 sets this rate at 35%, around 35%. So it's a big jump until 2025. And to close the circle and close the loop of a circular economy, bring this recycled material back to the economy or never let it leave the economy. So incorporate around an average of 30% recycled material in new packaging. And we set also a goal, a target that is exclusive from the Portuguese Plastics Pact. There are right now 10 plastics pacts around the world, but our is the only one that established a target focused on the consumer. We want to promote awareness and education to the consumer to use plastics in a sustainable and circular way, as we understand that the consumer is the key part of the circular economy for plastics. And the Portuguese Plastics Pact has more than 100 members right now, and their efforts will be in vain if we will not bring the consumer to this transition.
Correct, yes. How important are public institutions and decision makers from the government when it comes to shifting models of reducing plastic waste?
So the involvement of the government and all public parties involved in the Portuguese Plastics Pact is indeed very, very important. So just let me explain. The members that are responsible and that commit to the targets are what we call the effective members, that are the companies on the value chain of plastics, from recyclers to raw material producers. We have also brand owners, retailers, the plastics industry. But to support all their efforts of innovation, we need the support of the government and all the public agencies, mainly through legislation. We need laws that incentivize innovation and that disincentivize the ones that are not leading this transition. So this is the reason why was a key part of our initiative to have the government on board. We got the government through the 3 ministries that are, in my view, more connected with the plastic waste problem. That is the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Economy and Ministry of the Seas. And they all support the initiative institutionally. And more than an institutional support and just a signed paper saying that, they are involved in the initiative, and we meet with them often, and we transmit the needs of the value chain to the government, which is an important way for them to understand what is going on, the efforts being done by the value chain, and convert them in good policy that will accelerate this transition and allow us to achieve these targets by 2025.
And more specifically about us, what is the region of Porto and the north of Portugal doing to foster such a shift?
Porto and many municipalities around the north of Portugal are members of the Portuguese Plastics Pact. They have been pioneers in implementing a lot of good initiatives regarding the circularity of plastics, deposit schemes for bottles of beverages, door-to-door collection for recycling, which will increase the rate and the quality of the recyclates. They are very open to try new business models, to innovate, and again, also public procurement in the municipalities that is focused on the plastics that we consider that should not be on the market. And we have a close relationship both with Porto and other municipalities to help us and use them as sometimes living labs of some pilots that we want to test on the ground.
We are very close here to the CIMAR Institute, the Interdisciplinary Center of Marine and Environmental Research pertaining to the University of Porto. How important is the scientific developments for initiatives like the Plastics Pact and the progress in terms of environmental protection overall?
So the Portuguese Plastics Pact is very proud to have many universities on board. They support our members, our companies to move forward with innovation, with research, and they have a key role in bringing scientific research to the table and to, for one side, understand the problem in depth, understand what are, apart from the visual consequences of plastic pollution on the oceans and on the environment, what is more than that? What are the impacts on the human health? What are the impacts on the health of ecosystems and the animals? So they have this part that is very important for us to understand, and also the other part that is promoting research on new packaging, new materials that could be used as an alternative to petrochemical-based plastics, and also new ways of using plastics in a better way. How to make them more recyclable, how to make them more reusable. So they have a key role in all these initiatives, and they have been working very close with us and with our members to make this transition.
Okay, very well. Last year, the Portuguese Plastic Pact released a short educational video raising awareness on the real impact that plastic waste has on the environment. Looking out at the sea here from the beautiful Porto Cruise Terminal building, it reminds me of one of the main victims of plastic pollution, our oceans. In your view, how can we rethink tourism so it becomes an engine of change, a factor that contributes towards a circular economy rather than one of waste?
Yes, tourism it is the maybe the sector that is more affected directly by plastic pollution, as plastic waste in the oceans and in the environment puts in damage their most valuable asset, that is clean beaches and a marvelous view of the ocean. So the tourism sector is one of the most interested in eliminate plastic pollution, and is moving forward in that direction. We see a lot of big hotel chains making big shifts. All these amenities that you used to see in many hotels are disappearing and being substituted by reusable packaging. And also an important role of tourism, I would say, is also educate the tourist himself or herself. Because when we go on vacation, we usually not only forget about our work and our job, we also forget about our good habits at home, and we usually do not recycle when we go on a holiday. So there is a key part of the tourism sector in create awareness and education next to their customers to make them reinforce their good habits at home when they are on holiday.
Very well, yes. Picking up your words, there is a strong trend in recent years towards avoiding plastics within the MICE industry, such as avoiding straws, single-use plastics, etc. What would be your top 3 recommendations towards more sustainable, large-scale events?
Top 3 recommendation is always difficult to select just 3, but I'll go with a hierarchy of waste and try to apply the R's here. So the first R will be reduce. Reduce as much as we can, as you said. If you have any avoidable straw, any avoidable packaging, any avoidable souvenir that you are delivering, just eliminate them from the events if they are not needed. Everything that you need, try to reuse as much as we can. And here in Porto, in the north of Portugal, we have been experiencing that in many events where people go to the venues and see a lot of reusable cups, for instance, but not stop just on cups, but also on tableware. Try to use as much as reusable items as you can. And for all of them, either reusable or non-reusable, this will be the third recommendation, focus on recycling. Buy your materials, even if they are durable materials, always thinking that someday they will end their life, and you need to understand that they can be recyclable in the end of that life, so they can be fully circular. These will be the 3 recommendations, and I'll make just a warning: do not try to reduce by substitute. It's not any better if you substitute plastic straws by paper straws. You are wasting resources, either plastic or paper. So if they are not needed, just eliminate them from your portfolio.
Very well. How long will it take, in your opinion, if possible at all, until we will be able to plan and execute 100% plastic-free events from A to Z? And until then, what would you recommend event planners to do in order to avoid the plastics we use transform into waste?
So I cannot foresee in a new year and longer future an event or anything without plastic. We are sitting in plastic chairs, we have plastic on our clothes, we have plastic everywhere. And this is a good thing. Plastics make it a revolution when they appear on our lives and on our society, and they have a key role to play in our well-being. So a lot of things will still be made by plastic, and maybe more things will be made by plastic. What we need to ensure is that all the plastic used is recyclable. This should be mandatory for any product, not only single use, but also durable goods, clothes, cameras, etc. And and I'll stick to the recommendations in order to avoid plastic waste. This is what the Portuguese Plastics Pact wants to do. It's eliminate plastic waste, not eliminate plastics. And to eliminate plastic waste, we go for this approach of a circular economy for plastics. So try to recycle everything, try to use this recycled material in new products, and whenever possible, try to reuse what was previously single use, and reduce whenever you do not need something, you'll not need to consume it either in plastic or in other material.
Pedro, thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.